Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be ranking my top 10 favorite sets based off Return of the Jedi. One quick thing I'd like to note before we start is that this is my personal list, so you'll probably have some sets you disagree with, and make sure to share your opinions down below. I'd love to hear what different sets you guys would have included on this list if it was your own. So make sure to put that in the comments, and without holding it up anymore, let's move on to the 10th spot. And that spot is taken by Home 1. Now, I know this probably is a shock to a lot of you. This isn't a set most people would think of right away. But for me personally, I've just always kind of loved this set. I don't know what it is about it exactly, but ever since I was a kid, I've kind of wanted this one. I still have never gotten it actually to this day. It's definitely on my list to go back and buy it at some point because I really love what you get here. It's kind of a different set from what we normally get. We don't really often get the interiors of ships as Lego builds. So I think it was pretty neat to get the kind of command center over there in the briefing room, as well as the hangar right next to it with an A-wing. There's a lot of play there to be had with all that, recreating scenes from the movie and, launching off the A-wing into battle. If you disconnect that hangar, though, it's almost like a diorama on the left side. You can set up your figures like it's the beginning of Return of the Jedi and they're planning their attack on the second Death Star. It's a really neat concept for a set that probably will never get remade. One quick other thing I'd like to note is the figures in this lineup. Because it's that command center on Home 1, we got some really cool figures in that scene that we haven't really seen anywhere else or since. And they're just kind of hard figures to find to put in a set, because we don't see them that often, like Mon Mothma, for example. A really neat figure to get, but just not one that is seen very often. Now again, I don't know what exactly it is for sure, but I just think this set has a lot to love, and I kind of think it's underrated. For me, it was definitely going to be on this list, and so here it was at number 10. Number 9 is claimed by Jabba's Palace, which this version is easily the best iteration. The really old one is, I like it for nostalgia's sake, but it's very open. It's very much a playset. This one is, don't get me wrong, it's a playset too, but it really has the display factor as well. That really has a good combination for both kids and collectors. From the display side of things, you could display it either from the play side, I guess you could say, that has the interior, you can set up the figures, or you could do it from the exterior of Jabba's palace and maybe have the sail barge out in front of it. Either way, I think it's a really neat set that gives you a lot of options for display and has a lot of play to it as well. A really neat feature of this set isn't actually, I guess, in this set, but if you buy the Rancor pit, you can actually attach it to this set. Now, I didn't really include that in my ranking here because, I feel like that's kind of unfair to include to favor one set because it works good with another set, but I figured I'd note it because it's a really fun feature and I think they do need to do more stuff like that. Of course, too, with Jabba's Palace, you got Jabba and a ton of other cool alien minifigures. Along with the great display and play capabilities like I was talking about, again, this set just has a lot going for it, and it definitely earned the 9th spot. 8th on my list, I have Jabba's Sail Barge. This is a really good looking play scale set. And similarly to Jabba's Palace, if you were to pair this with one of the Desert Skiff sets, you'd really have a great play set and scene on your hands. Now, of course, I'm just judging this here on this set only, and I still think it deserves this 8th spot, though. Its minifigure lineup is really great, and that Max Rebo figure is a legendary in the community. Luckily, it looks like we will be getting a remake of him later this year in the UCS sail barge. Other than that, you got other few cool figures that you'd expect to be here. I personally always like the sail barges because they're a little different from every other Star Wars vehicle. Those sails on top, making it look kind of more like a classic pirate ship. The sail barge is just really fun, and it allows you to recreate some really great scenes with some really great minifigures. My 7th spot is held by the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium. This is the best playscale version by far. This one doesn't really cut any corners, and it's very tiled off and very smooth. This ship in particular is just a really good looking ship. Its design is very clean, the white and then the shape of it, just a really great ship to adapt to Lego and to put on display. One reason though in particular I love this version over the others is the minifigure lineup. I really enjoyed the choice to make this ship the one that the Rebels actually fly down to Endor. The minifigure lineup is just a bit more fun, and it gives you a variety so it's not the same one with, Darth Vader, Luke, and then, Stormtrooper or whatever. It's a nice shakeup, and the figures you get here are really great, all of them. You even get the guy who people think is Rex from Return of the Jedi. Lego just did a really good job here, and again, I loved the minifigure shakeup from the normal. Claiming my sixth spot is the Imperial Shuttle. This pick might actually be a bit controversial for some of you out there. I know a lot of people view this set as one of the top sets of all time, but I personally just don't get it. I'm not sure what all the hype's about, honestly. I don't get me wrong, I think it's a really great set, but I don't get why people put it at the number one. Like I said previously, the ship is a really great ship, and they captured it really well here. Very, very smooth. The wings are all snot techniques, so it's a very sleek build. A solid figure lineup. It's the Vader, Luke version of it. Nothing to hate here and a lot to love, but I just don't think it should be that high on people's lists. So personally for me, it's just not a top 5 here. However, in the middle of this list, cracking the top 5 is the B-Wing Starfighter. This, in my opinion, is much better. I know I keep talking about ship design, and that applies here too. The B-Wing has a very different look from all the other ships in the Rebel Alliance, and it stands out on a shelf too because of that. They are able to get all of its weird quirks and fit it really well into this Lego set. Putting it in the UCS line really allowed them to get all the pieces and put the work in they needed to make this a top 5 set. My biggest con here is that there's no minifigures. I don't know what this choice was about, but we normally always at least get a pilot or, a minifigure or two with these sets. UCS isn't known for giving us a ton of minifigures, but none is not really that heard of. Luckily, the build is good enough to support the set itself, and it still makes for a fantastic display piece that really captures the attention of anyone looking in this direction. Sitting at 4, I got the Emperor's Throne Room diorama. This is the most recent set to make this list, and in my opinion, it's the best diorama yet. I think part of that has to do with the scene it depicts, as just I love the final battle there on the Death Star 2. It holds a lot of weight and is really the biggest climax of the movie and for Luke. And Lego was able to capture that perfectly. You get the 3 minifigures you need in Palpatine, Vader, and Luke, and the scene they're set in is perfect. The geometry of the back window in particular is just great to look at. From a Lego perspective, it's really neat how they did it, even if the overall build may seem simple. This set is really a perfect recreation of the scene, and that's what makes it a top contender. The only thing I see some people complaining about is the price tag. I don't really see it though. I can get it maybe, it may be a tad overpriced, but not that bad. I don't think it really hinders the set in any way. The diorama line always kind of seems to have that though, comment against it. A lot of people always say overpriced, but most of the time I don't think that's the case. Despite this though, I still find the set to be an absolute winner and a great pickup. Third on my list is the Ewok Village. Now, this is an absolutely classic set that I'm sure you all expected to be here. It is super sought after and very expensive if you wanted to pick one up today. There's a reason it's so popular, and that's because it is that good. There's so much fun here, and the play features and the figures, and the build just looks fun. The trees and the rope bridge across. They packed everything from Endor into this set. You have a bunch of the traps that the Ewoks use. You even have a few stormtroopers with a few speeder bikes. The only other thing you need to recreate the Battle of Endor is a bunker, and you're set. Now, I never owned this set, but one of my friends did, and I was always so jealous of this one. It definitely stands out against the LEGO Star Wars collection, and that definitely adds to its appeal. The runner-up is the Death Star 2. This is a phenomenal display piece. Probably the best LEGO Star Wars set for display, maybe ever, at least in my opinion. This set is an absolute statement. You see this thing and, man, it puts everything else to shame. The Death Star is just too iconic, and it grabs your attention right away, especially the second iteration here, because half of it, is that incomplete in construction phase. And so that's definitely the reason they went with it, and that's definitely what makes it stand out. I don't think they could ever do a fully paneled Death Star 1, as that'd literally just be a sphere, and that'd be pretty boring. I really do, though, hope they end up remaking the set, as I would love to see what they do with all the new parts now. This build, though, stands the test of time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Like a lot of the sets on this list, this one's very sought after and very expensive on the aftermarket. I think it's in like the top 5 most expensive LEGO Star Wars sets. Now, with how much praise I'm giving it, you're probably wondering why it isn't the number 1 spot, and I understand that. For most of you, this probably should be the number 1 slot, but the first set I just have a special connection to, and I don't know why. The Battle of Endor is my top spot. This set has always just had a place in my heart for some reason. I don't know why. I just love it. I don't even have this set, actually. It's just always been one that I've wanted, and I think I just really love the playability that comes with it. This pick definitely isn't for everyone, but it's for me, and this is my list, so hey, that's what I'm going to do. This set is really accurate to the scene, like to a T, and the play features it employs directly comes from the movie, like the exploding bunker, and then it includes a catapult and a flying Ewok, which is so cool. Not to mention it comes with an ATST. The figure lineup to support all this, of course, is perfection. You got Ewoks, Imperials, and then our Rebels. This set's really got the whole 9 yards, especially when you consider that other factor of it. I don't know what exactly it even is. I don't know what it was. I always wanted it. And this is definitely one I'm watching for on eBay, trying to get. So for me, it had to be my number 1. Now, I know some of you probably disagree, so go ahead and let me know your number 1s in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And that actually wraps up my list, though. So I want to thank all of you for stopping by and watching the whole thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what other top 10s or ranking videos you'd like to do. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.